Okay. The team moving forward to the next event where they may or may not survive, or at the very least, no one will try to murder them, but the other way around is still up for debate. Your team traveled separately. Yoko trying to find their new teacher to teach them some new sword tricks, and need to take out my cheat sheet. Asora coming along to see if they can fight him, or at least something along those lines. So those two have been traveling together. King Aster, on the other hand, is prepping for war. The first strikes have been declared, and well, he wants to for sure clap back, bringing about a good contingency of individuals to bring along this assault. It was also determined that he and potentially a strike team, who's to say, that has yet to be fully, at least to me, given that information, planned out, will be heading towards the good evil doctor, or the crazed doctor, or I don't think you actually know his name, but the good evil doctor. The one creating these strange abominations of creatures fused together in a way most foul, or at least that's the ones you've seen so far. Who's to say how things have changed in the intermedium? He is to travel there by a new offline, well, off the grid, truthfully, magic circle, as well as found some cursed objects within the area. One was this strange milky white pendant thing, and another was a man with like weird cursed statues with a whole bunch of other knickknacks and doodads. You figured out that that man was the son of the craftsman that created this strange milky white amulet sphere thing, and this other cursed staff thing. More on that maybe later, depending on if you decide to venture forwards with that connection. King Aster also got Jean the Merchant to prepare the megaphone air quote system to give a declaration of some sort in the middle of the day. While your paths are currently diverged, who knows if they will connect sometime soon. But we will have to wait and see in a bit. We go over to where Yoko and Asora are, along with Kyle, the guy who tried to run away and you said no. And also Yoko tried to steal his dad's sword, but eventually gave it back, never knowing if that was a artifact of some sort or not. But I am okay with saying that because technically Yoko is in here and won't try to rob him again.
Hey, I'm here. If it's a nice weapon, I'll take it.
That'd be rude, but you're more than welcome to try. For sure you can. He's like 17 and barely able to carry a sword. That's not true. He is capable of carrying a sword, but not against you. His max
No.
bonus is a +5, so there's that. We take you now back to this place. Getting rid of the green lines. You've been traveling here for a bit of a time. In fact, not that much time. You woke up, turned into clouds, and immediately dashed through the mountain range. You found some green forest and then into a more tundra zone. You then saw this weird burning beetle thing decimate some people, eat a couple of them, and well, you're back here. Kyle asked if he could potentially do something for you guys, but he does need to return back to his people to, well, bury the former merchants that are now dead, as well as his father, who is also, unfortunately, has perished, trying to keep his son alive for as long as he could. The beetle went back home after convincing and, what's it called? Being mean to him, and he said, all right, fine, be that way. I'm going home. Asora more or less intimidating him until leaving, and beat him up real good alongside Yoko. You fixed up the wagon, and the bodies are now in place, and you're heading there. It will take up to 2 days traveling this way. This way specifically, you can change that as you changed almost a week's travel as you've done before. Wagon and tow, us, both you and Yoko are making way to the encampment site. To the not encampment site technically. To his home, and Kyle does state, right, well, thank you once again. I do appreciate this help. The wagon itself should be maintained, and thankfully enough, we were able to salvage one horse from fully escaping. But if there's anything you need, perhaps the elder at my homestead could potentially assist you in any way. May I ask where you're traveling towards? As it seemed we were going in opposite directions until you found me and my former family members.
We were going to his village, weren't we?
Yeah, but that was never really stated. Like, you agreed to, like, join him and get him to his village, but, you know, he's asking, hey, why are you out here in the forest in the first place?
I mean, didn't because Yoko needed to go there.
Yes. At a game, yes. The village that he comes from is that same exact village. Yoko out in game has never said, "Hey, we're gonna go see this guy. He's in your village. Let us accompany you." It's more like, "Let's join you," and that was it.
Yeah, but Asura knows that's where Yoko wants to go.
Yes.
Okay. Just lead the way.
Okay. Sure. No small talk whatsoever. He will continue to lead the way. Asura, go ahead and roll for me 1d20. No modifier, unless you have the lucky feat, then proficiency.
Do I have the lucky feet?
That's on you, man.
Can't remember if I took it. No, I took the telepathic.
Okay. I think it's honestly close to the best you can do. Examining the area, you do see Kyle like stops sometimes here and there. You notice like shrubbery in the distance, but not close. Move and like scattered patterns of movement are through there. So like potential prowling creatures or people make way past the area, and then Kyle eventually moves forwards. Unfortunately, you can never be too careful. There's a lot of hunting parties out here. And the flame tongues are, well, they're still out there. Oh, wait. Before we continue, we were doing something else. Azura wanted to decimate the flame tongues. That's why I had that part set up.
But we did the math last week. It won't be as exciting as I thought.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
I still want to kill him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Wait a minute. I forget. Hold up. Wait a minute.
Holding.
No, never mind. I was gonna see if I had a 6th level spell that was pretty good.
Okay. Well, okay. Examining the area and making sure that you survive. Kyle more or less is making sure that you don't encounter anything that you don't need to. It'd be, I guess, up to you if you want to
Actually,
fight things.
I do want to see. I want to find the Flame Tongue village and find a tree so that I can come back later.
Yeah. From what I remember, you turned invisible or flew or something like that.
The mist. I would have scouted out through their town as the mist.
Yeah, like we ended off doing that. Like you have some of their equipment. Yoko has their swords. It's not impossible to find them. It's just gonna be no. They're pretty careless. They're like itching for fights and stuff like that. It's not impossible to find them. Yeah. Roll for me survival advantage.
Natural 20.
That'll
So
do it.
good.
Examining the area and making sure that you prevail quite easily. You come across a footpath that leads to a large campsite. The campsite itself has maybe 20 people in it currently. That's not to say those are their entire numbers, just means that that's the current people there. You can for sure observe them and take note of the largest of tents, which likely means big tent. Leader guy.
How many people?
20 currently.
And I'm fully healed, right?
I think so. I don't think you really took damage. The kid tried to hit you but missed. Well, didn't hit, and then you like grappled him, and then the giant bug just hurt Yoko. Other than like some spell slots, I think you're good.
Trying to remember which spell slots I used. How tough do they look?
Uh, what's your passive perception?
Uh, 15.
You can for sure tell that some of them are hardy. Some of them look as tough as I wouldn't say the guys you were with before because you don't like them. Uh, but some of them seem stronger than that. Some of them seem potentially on par with what you've seen Yoko capable of doing. Not to say that one on one they couldn't lose to Yoko, but they do seem tough. But you, as a strong individual, do know if you take out the strongest one, the rest will just follow.
If I take out the strongest one.
Yeah, like the leader, the boss, the guy in the big tent.
And I don't see him.
You don't visibly see him, but you do see the big tent. And I'm just going to show you the map. It'd be easier that way. There's certainly no people in there because I wasn't sure what you were going to do. It's currently near a frozen lake. Unfortunately, I didn't have a frozen map, so I just went forest, changed the tint to a whiter one.
I see. I recognize this map.
Yeah. But besides reusing the map, you can tell that there is the big red tent that likely has the leader guy. Like a whole bunch of randos hanging about everywhere. Some of them with blades, others with knives, others with their bare hands. You believe the most amount of them are barbarians, but some of them do have swords, potentially a fighter. Some of them fight with their fists, potentially monks. But like,
Looking at a spell real quick. Hold on.
yeah.
Unless, Hunt, do you have access to Xanathar's guide to everything?
Yeah, what's up?
Wrath of Nature.
I think
That's from.
Xanathar's guide to everything. It's a druid spell.
Okay,
think
I was like, is this a spell or a feature? Was the
Mm.
real thing?
I think
Sorry,
Xanathar's
it's a
guide is
spell.
linked to this account, so you should have access in the compendium. Unless I did it wrong.
I just copied and I'll just copy and paste it for right now, just because I can.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
here it is.
Yeah, there it is. This is gonna be a weird way to post it, but I can post it this way too.
And is there trees within the like is this in within the trees?
Yeah, like there's a lot of shrubbery in the area. Definitely can like not be seen if you really don't want to be seen. The main majority of people aren't like near the tent.
Okay, what's a 60-foot cube? Nope, nope. I need to make a 60-foot cube.
Like this. If you can see that.
Mm-hmm. It's a concentration spell, I just saw.
I like how your hesitation is, oh, it's concentration. I can wipe
I
out
mean,
nearly half the board, but it's concentration.
I mean, I rage and I lose that.
I'm just poking fun. All good.
Oh my god. If I summon a Fae, a Conjure Fae, I could summon a T-Rex.
That's not a thing.
It's
But
one of
cool.
the options.
That's not a thing. Cool options, though.
Let's see. Or a Fae spirit that takes form of a beast challenge. No, I wouldn't be able to do the Fae. I'd be able to, I mean, the T-Rex yet until I get 8th level spell slots. But I could do a Mammoth. I could have it cause problems. Wait a minute. Okay, so it only does one. I don't get more the lower the amount of CR. Yeah, this is good.
Just to continue the joke, mammoths aren't fey.
Yeah. I could have the fucking mammoth. Like, I could sacrifice the mammoth. Have it whittle them down. And then come in as my earth elemental. And then finish them off. I could do this right now. Yeah, I'll have to it'll take a day. Okay, I see a tree, right? I see a big enough tree for me to. No, because that'll waste a spell slot. I'd have to rest here outside, within range, then come back, summon the mammoth in the middle of the fucking village. Or no, have it come running. I could do this. There's only 20 of them. Nah, I'll wait. I'm gonna go back to Yoko.
Yep.
And the
Oh.
kid. But I remember I have the tree.
Yep. Finding them, returning back to your crew, or at least the people you're currently traveling with. You make an campsite while the day and time whittles through. In the meantime, oops, wrong map. I believe you guys went your separate ways at the very end of things. You spoke with a few people here and there. John had the weird cursed item that currently you have, Aster. I don't believe you placed it on yourself. You just have it in a box or something. And did you take one of the other 2 items?
No, I just told him that I'd keep the cursed one.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just keeping the cursed one off his hands.
Yep. Afterwards, you met with the individual known as Carlisle. You know that his dad made the weird cursed one. And this weird scepter thing that looks like a outstretching hand grasping onto something. For sure looks cursed.
Excuse me, sorry.
It's all good. You're also going to use his magic circle to teleport where you need to. He did say in order to reuse it again, you need to find someone that can cast the teleportation spell and learn the circle's symbols. It is close to noon, I believe an hour beforehand. If you have anything else to do, let me know. Otherwise, I will bring in the council.
I would like to buy a teleportation circle scroll from Jean, possibly.
Okay. You find John in his shop, and he does state, certainly. Let's see here. Teleportation circle spell. That I don't know off the top of my head.
Don't mind the
Third level?
noise if y'all hear something. Sorry. Teleportation scroll for teleportation
5th
circles.
level. Okay. That's
Damn.
yeah.
Yeah.
That would be 500 gold.
Rockus should have that spell. Yoko, I mean, because of her having Thane's spell book.
That is correct, but
a
Yoko
copy of Thane.
It's also
currently
not
isn't with
here for
Aster.
it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, for future references in the party.
Yeah.
For the party.
Yeah, I'll. I mean, I don't have much of a choice. I'll go ahead and pay it.
Seriously, guys? I
Very well.
swear. No, not you. I'm opening a switch case, and they decided to zip tie the zipper to the thing, and I don't have anything to open it with.
It's like zip tying down scissors in packaging, which I have seen. Neither here or there, though. What was I gonna say? Very well then. Only one. Generally, you need two to get there and back, but have it your way. The system for amplification of your own self has been integrated into the city again, as well as the telecommunication array within the kingdom, if you so desire. It is set up in your office when ready.
I'll make the announcement at sunset.
Of course. Thank you and have a good day.
If I might ask you one more thing before I go, Jean.
Of course.
What are the people saying? What is the common folk thinking at the moment?
Uh, gonna be candid and frank, sir. Many are frightened. Many are scared. Those that have seen it firsthand do blame mainly the drow, but those that could have did see some of the images that the drow had shown. Some of them are speaking of the council and kingdom to blame for this, for striking first, if you will. Many of them speak of seeing you addressing the general and then striking at her when she stated, if you are to strike first, then you will be declaring war. And those that have lost do blame you in this regard, but that is a very small number. But there is rumor that, well, things could go far worse for the kingdom if we do not start winning on our side. I would say that people prefer backing up the winning side rather than the losing one, but many people of the kingdom are still on your side. But there is turmoil.
Thank you.
Of course, and as I mentioned beforehand, I am still on your side as well. Not because you've offered me a new job helping out with finances. Well, helping your people with their the finances of the kingdom. But in general, I have seen the type of person you are, and that goes beyond an attack from individuals that aren't exactly the best judges of character, if I'm being perfectly frank. You know, the whole enslaving part kind of doesn't give them a good standing to begin with.
Just kind of laughs. It does me well to hear all of that. Thank you, my friend.
Of course. Again, the teleportation scroll itself is inscribed by an enchantment, so once you use it, it will. Once you unroll it, it will be used. So if you need to find a way back, I suggest you finding a caster that can use it, or perhaps buying another one.
I have been diligent in what short time I have to myself and my escapades of the magical persuasion. I've gained a deal of insight into the arcane. Trial through flames, if you will, and explosions, and wayward teleportation spells.
Sounds about right.
What I lack in conventional schooling in the arcane, I think I make up for in my practiced knowledge. But so I think I will be fine. But again, thank you for your concern.
Of course. Look forward to the announcement later this evening, sir.
And I head out.
Yep. Pleasantries are had, and then you split apart. Oops, wrong layer. There we go. Let's try this again. Peter's also there taking care of your sister. Who would be there? Representative River of the Lycanthrope clan to the east. Let's see. Roy, one of your generals, would also be there. here. Zhao would also be there as one of the individuals taking care of Fail. Then there is Hazel, one of the captain of the guard. And then lastly, we have one of the representatives of the Night Owls. Also has attendance. Any one of those people that you don't want there, Aster, feel free to stay.
No, definitely not cultist members from Dean.
They're not there.
I think this is a fine lineup we've got. The Western lycanthrope clan, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, actually, I don't think I've ever actual images, the cloaked ones. Let's see here.
I don't know how Fail's ambassadoring went, but I thought it went well.
Oh, it did. What was I gonna say? It for sure did. The West diplomats themselves are quite more of, if you have honor and can defeat us, we will listen to what you have to say. Not follow you, but listen to see if you're wise enough to give us counsel. A lot of things happened to Fail. You can ask her if you want, but she succeeded, and the representative of the West has joined you guys.
I actually just imagined Peter like suplexing one dude 3 times in a row, and they're being like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we'll listen."
It might have. Yeah. There we go. Representative of the West. The other guy was also technically a bodyguard / diplomat, but the Were Tiger technically outranks him. But not important here or there. Just political wise, it does. Okay. Put Zhao and Peter over here, and Fail with the rest of the council.
You have to say, a full house makes this small meeting room a little cramped, does it not?
Hayes does say a little, sir, but we're more than ready to be at attention. Carl does state, yes, sir, a little cramped, but we make do. Like, for sure, there's, like, elbow-to-elbow room, but there is room, honestly, but in order for, like, if you need to have them be seen by the people of the country in, like, a full view, panorama view, they would need to be, like, elbow-to-elbow squished in.
I don't think that'll be necessary.
Then they spread apart. Still enough room to, like, walk through, but, like, for sure don't add any more people.
Before I make my speech, is there anything that anyone wants to address to the common people before I?
Would any of them need to? River, and oh, I forgot I named him stupidly.
I'm expecting at least 3 apostrophes in this name.
No.
Damn.
No, I'm just gonna show it instead of just tell you. Here is who I was talking about. He is known as Tigor.
I'm gonna assume that's a self-given name.
Sure. That's just me making NPCs all at once and hoping it would work out.
Yeah, they contracted their tiger lycanthropy, and they're like, well, I guess I gotta commit to the bit now.
River, since you know her better, does state towards you. Um, Other than the fact that what you need to address, we will also state that you have the backing of the lycanthrope clans of the West and East. If that could be included as well as new representatives of your kingdom added into your kingdom once more.
It would be remiss of me to take such joyous news away from either of you. Once I have made my speech, I will turn it over to you so that you might announce such joyous news. Mortania welcomes you both with open arms and beneath her flag. Thank you for joining.
Both do nod. Tygor does state, be that as it may, we are still working on logistic ways of doing things and making sure your other tribesmen are not as freaked out when we are in towns. Safety measures must be taken in action, other than the obvious, making sure no one gets into fights with lycanthropes, or else they might inquire the lycanthrope curse.
Aster kind of lightly chuckles. Yes, yes. Peace is always hardest. Harder even than the war that precedes it.
Indeed. Colette does state, after they finish their piece, she makes sure that, she doesn't barge into any conversation, does state, that being true, it should also be noted that you do have clerical backing as well. My own city itself, as well as the high clergy, are also behind you, King Aster.
Good, because I'm about to piss off a god. I don't say that one.
Yeah. You know who she's running with. Her kingdom, not her kingdom, her city itself is based on religion and stuff of that nature. Very tied to the gods themselves. You actually don't know who she worships, but you do know that the actual leader of that city, you've met them before when the one leader tried to assassinate some of you guys and cause a ruckus.
Could I guess who she worships by looking her over? Does she have a pendant or anything?
Sure. Looking and examining things, you do see a pendant that has religious iconography. It has what strikes a resemblance to a hammer with a dragon, but in front of that hammer side, with a dagger cutting through the actual hilt of the blade. Not the blade, the hammer. So, best way I can do this is I will draw it. So,
and I'm gonna go ahead and roll a religion check if that's okay to identify it.
Oh yeah. Hammer. Dagger. And then dragon in front of that. So circle is dragon, because I'm not gonna draw that.
Okay. So in my head, one of the hammerheads was a dagger, and one of the hammerheads was a dragon face. So that does make much more sense.
Yeah.
What you're drawing.
Yeah. Oops. Now that's just an incomplete T. Get out of here, T.
For time to leave.
Just looking her over, you can tell that is that is religious-based symbolism. T is often represented of the god of fighting and combat. The blade represents, the god of tricksters or rogues, and the dragon often not represents the god Bahamut.
So she's more of a worshiper of a pantheon rather than a select god.
That is likely the way of things, or maybe there's a new god in town and that's the symbol they're going with. But it's more than likely the pantheon thing.
All right, then. Well, if there's nothing else that anyone else would like to bring up, go ahead and get started then. Aye?
Indeed. Of course, sir. Jean in the background, but not currently present in the room, uh, activates the system and looks towards you, like ready to flip a switch. Give the word, sir, and I'll be activating it post haste.
Aster kind of just takes a deep breath and then nods for him to commence.
He counts down from 3, 2, and 1, flips the switch, and you see the crystal-lined device like shoot out a mirage of light surrounding Aster and everything else around him in a 10-foot radius. It expands, and the light symbol like shoots up into the roof, where there's a connecting line into a different crystal, casting a massive, what's it called? Greater illusion spell into the network of, well, relays. End of sentence.
Hearken to me, fair people of Morton. Is I, your King Aster, speaking. You all are well aware of the attack we suffered now by the drow that live beneath us. And though our preparations and defenses held most us true, with great sorrow I tell you the city of Winter's Peak was lost, likely along with too many smaller villages being attacked. In fact, a fair few of you hearing this are likely from such places. Know that all of Morton weeps with you, for the loss of our kinsmen, brothers and sisters true. But we will not just weep in the face of this adversity. The drow who orchestrated this attack shall be brought to heel, to answer for this tragic loss of life. But do not think those that live neath us our fair land as enemies. Nay, many drow themselves are little more than the shackleless slaves to the whims of a fell goddess. I mean to liberate them just as well. Just as I mean to liberate those in shackles proper. Those taken from the surface, from their homes, family, and friends. Perhaps those outcast by us even in years prior. We are not faultless in their predicament, but we shall make it right. So ready yourself, my kinsmen. We ready our march against not the denizens below, but against those that pull their strings. We march to liberate and free a whole people. So steel yourselves in for what is to come, as we rout their army. This war is but the first step among many among our virtuous path. As we have seen before with the lichens and outcasts both, the hardest part will be what comes after, as we rebuild and restore what was lost in recent past, and a past so long far ago, none alive have borne witness to it. So ready yourselves for war, and then brace yourselves for the peace and forgiveness of what shall follow. What shall follow our assured victory. Hail to Morton! May her banner fly ever higher.
Roll.
And I'll look to the count. And
Good.
tell me what to do first.
Roll persuasion, advantage. Everything already base said. +5. And what were you gonna say?
I'm gonna add a D8 to this just cause.
Just cause.
Right, so 34 total.
Very good.
And then as I finish, I look to the council for anyone who would like to speak after.
Yeah. Looking towards the council, you do see many of them stout, resolute, ready to see what may happen. As it happens, Colette does state in her own voice, "We take stride with the king and the country. We take stride with our new friends and new allies. While the goddess of the Underdark has shackled the people below us, we take faith that those shackles will be unbound, that the people will be free, and that those ready to raise up arms to free one another, to free our brethren, they take arms and we take stride knowing that we will prevail. And Tigor, really should change his name, like roars in anticipation for this. He is like made for combat. And like this is stirring up everyone else as well. Some people in the council do have military background. Carl does like salute. Dean does the whole arm at heart, ready to take an oath. Hazel and the rest of the guards in this room like also salute, and you hear an uproar of townsfolk just roaring alongside the rest of the people within your room. You hear beyond this, while you are tethered to the rest of the kingdom, you do feel that communing nature, that understanding that, oh yeah, people are very psyched up for this. While they have lost many a thing, they do have a direction to go. That's not to say things will go easily, but with everyone driven for a cause, that cause can be done a lot smoother than it could have been beforehand. Not only the military strength that you have residing with you, but you do have the people's hearts for now. So as long as that doesn't change, you are good to go. And as this resolution is brought, Tigor finishes his battle cry and does state, "And let it be known that those outcasts before will take up arms with you as new brethren of the wilds and new brethren of this kingdom. No longer outcast, the tribes of the west and east will join your cause." And once again, an uproar is cast. In the background, Jean is saying, "All right, then, we only have a few more minutes of this. Any last statements, Your Majesty?"
Loth, hear this chant of the people. Know that we come to undo your shackles. And then I'll nod to Jean to kill the stream.
The stream is cut at the appropriate measure, where everything is picked up and psyched and everyone's ready to go. He does not. The system itself does need to cool down and does need to be refixed. It does take a while to do all this, especially with mechanisms. Do dig the name of that you gave, Aster. I can't pronounce that, so I'm going to stick with Tigor.
Lathunum Sow.
I'm going to stick with Tigor.
Hey, I just wanted more apostrophes, that's all.
I completely understand, but I need to learn my limits. Lathunum Sow. That's not that hard. No, Lathunum Sow. We'll go with it for now and hope for the best. Lathunum Sow, formerly named Tigor. Tigor's his last name. Please. Tigor's my father. Anyways. Lathunum Sow does roar and does do his battle cry, and everyone is psyched up and looking towards you, Aster. He does state, "Now this is better than politics. We must ride together as tribesmen to take out those that have wronged our people. They have taken..." Go ahead.
I'd have it no other way. In fact, I was about to ask if you would like to volunteer for a preview of battle proper.
Like he jets out his claws, and each claw does have like some strange magical symbol. It'd be an honor to wage this war.
That said, the offer is open to anyone who wish to participate. I mean to take care of a drow doctor of sorts who's mutating people against their better will. We will depart via teleportation circle, deal with the doctor, and then return via another teleportation circle. All in time so that we might again join the charge on the Drow City proper. I cannot extend this offer to council members as your presence in the city is needed, but to my generals and confidants, this is an invitation.
Let's see here. Fail only needs technically one acting agent.
Fail is also not technically part of the council.
Not technically, but she does run things. Take up some stuff while you're away. Because unfortunately, she is good at her job. She just doesn't know how to slow down. But that is true. Aster, roll D20. Roll twice, actually. For sure you get the bloodthirsty tiger man? That's like a given. Okay, 10 and 7. Okay. You get Tigerman. You do also get Hayes, whose name I thought was Hazel, but I guess it's not. The captain of the guard does state, "Sir, it'd be an honor to join you alongside Mr. Luthinium Sao to defeat this crazed Doctor Man."
And you have a second who can take care of your post while you are away?
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
And this one lady whose name I currently can't remember, but it has to do with like a plant.
Is it Hemlock?
It might be Hemlock. Let's call her Hem. Until I can remember her name. Hem does state, "Well then, sir, if you'd like, the Night Owls can assist you with this for a fee that we will disclose at a later time. Mainly, if there's items there we can acquire, we'll let that cover the cost."
Very business-minded of you.
We would, of course, assist regardless of that. It is bad business to not have a kingdom to, have that business run through.
Very
This
well
is
then.
simple paperwork to negotiate terms. At least on
We
the
depart-
surface.
Then we depart post-haste.
Very well then, I'll make preparations. Very well then, sir. I'll make sure my second in command is deployed and has information on how to run things while I am gone. Lithium Sound does state, "Excellent." Looks towards the river. Yes. Do the whole political thing and have my second in command help you in this. That was going to be the thing that happened anyways. I thought that's why you agreed to join him. Never mind that. Just do this for me. I'll owe you one. You're not that great at politics, are you? No. Understood. Well, sure. He's like,
Politics can be done as well with claw as with ink sometimes, can it not then?
Ah, we are in agreement then. No wonder your sister is of your own kind, strong, will, determined, and can punch like the rest of them. You've never seen Fayul punch whatsoever. She's a caster through and through. You have no idea what he's talking about.
And I'll kind of shoot her a look. An
Like-
interesting story for our return, perhaps.
Hides behind Colette.
And I'll tell them where to meet me, basically outside that dude's manor.
Yep. Da. Yeah, they will have things set up and ready, and they will meet you there. Roy then states, very well then, sir. In the next few hours, we will have the generals set up and primed and ready. The army that we have diverted to go to the entrance point that you have named is set up and ready to go. If you do decide to join us, you know the coordinates to get there. Otherwise, we will venture forwards using the plans that you have garnered from the drow. We cannot fully trust them once enough time passes, but if we strike first, we can definitely surprise them. And we will look in.
That's the plan.
Of course. Colette then states, and we will look into ways of somehow fighting the Spider Queen. As without defeating her, we cannot free the drow from her tendrils.
I've a small theory on that nature.
Of course. My mayor of my city, DeLion, will look into things as well.
Surely, should I kill enough of her chosen, she will be forced to make an entrance, will she not?
Really depends on how much she cares about them. But if you somehow... No, it could depend on like how many of them you do kill. If she's mad enough, I suppose. But truly killing her and keeping her dead is another story altogether. We will look into that as well. Unfortunately, gods aren't just you kill them and then they are gone forever. It takes a bit unless we find certain artifacts or certain lore that we can discern the weaknesses from.
And what about absorbing them?
People have attempted to do that. Often not, that does corrupt the soul of the individual that has tried to do that. And the individual themselves are not fully aware that that has happened. I'm not saying no, but not the best choice. And I've never heard of a story that has worked out for the individual.
Just a thought.
Of course. And it's also not me at a game, me saying no. It's more like I've never heard a D&D term having someone do that. We can for sure try it, but I got no preference. Not preference. Backing on that.
Know. I know Vecna vaguely did something like that, but it's different because I guess it's different. I guess because he's a wizard and a lich, so that matters a little bit, I suppose.
Yeah, he like became a lich first, and then something else like happened.
Well, he just killed the previous god of magic, and that like let him become the next god of magic because he was there to claim the title first, I guess.
Oh, is that what happened?
That's my understanding of it.
Oh, cool. I'll look into that, like, out of game personally, so there's, like, a basis I can ground things in. But I got nothing currently.
To be fair, my running plan is that I was just going to try to do the similar thing that we did with the teleportation energy, and just place basically her vessel into a thing.
Man, that's gonna have to be a big thing.
Or a powerful thing.
Or a powerful thing, yeah.
Like, maybe like 500,000 GP worth of powerful thing.
Not what sure you would mean by that, but feel free to keep that a secret.
Oh, the Ember Flame Armor.
Ah, huh. Maybe. I don't know. In the meantime, wink wonk. In the meantime, as delegations to prepare for war do happen, a day does pass with Yoko, Sora, and Kyle, who has no fantasy name, just is a dude with a sword. He does say, after like a good respite, all right then, this next area will be a little bit more dangerous than the other one. As this area does have roaming bands of huntsmen and tribesmen, not from the Silver Quill themselves, just from various bands that may not have their own tribes or are looking to join a tribe. If there's anything you need to know, please feel free to ask me. But I know that there's 3 distinctive tribes in the area. 1, the Flame Tongue. 2, the Mechanites. And 3, the Bloodthirst.
Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Oh.
Now we can, yeah.
Let's just, I guess, go as fast as we can.
Very well then.
I'll keep an eye out.
All right. Hopefully I spelled that correctly. If you're not, well, what you gonna do? Quickly moving as quickly as possible. What's another way to add quickly? As controlled but quickly as you can. Riding the horse at its gallop, being range. Asora, go ahead and roll for me 1d20. Okay, and we've established beforehand you don't have the lucky feat, so that's just an 11. Bye-bye. Okay. As you and Kyle enter into the area, you do feel a distinctive presence around you. You pause for a moment, and something does feel unwelcoming. In the distance, you do see a glimmer of a bow and arrow pointed towards your direction, but not maybe towards you. You do hear someone just shout out, "Hey, stop right there. What tribe are you from?"
What tribe are you from?
Hey, that ain't my question, and that ain't an answer.
That is my answer.
That's a shitty answer.
I mean,
From the Mechanites. What's it to you? What group?
the Asora clan.
Or a clan. Shouts in the distance to a guy you probably can't see, unless you have a past perception of 20. I guess if he responds, you can like take note of where he's at. Yeah, he'll do it. He just shouts out in a direction. "Hey, Bob! You know the Asura clan? No, not really. You can tell he's like 30 feet to the left of the first yelling guy. So the first yelling guy directs their voice towards you, Asura. You new here or something? New to the territory? If you are, I suggest you get more people.
I might be new to the territory, but sorry, English hard, bad, me. I myself am more than enough to handle what might come.
You know, that's funny. But all right, look, you're new to town, so I'll just tell you this outright. Unless you have some sort of connection with any of the other groups, we are going to ask you for a toll. It's just how things roll, unless you get lucky and don't find any of us. Now, for us, we need the new fancy-smancy magical tech. You ain't got that? Well, then gold will still work. Ain't that right, Bob, in the background? Yeah, that's right. I'll also take silver if you got that.
I slowly just start popping my shoulders and my neck, and as I do, I take the form of the earth elemental, and I say into his mind, "How about I give you your your lives? That is the fee I give you. I let you live, and I'm going to try intimidate by using my strength and the massive form that I am now."
Yeah, you generally know where his voice is coming from, so that's all you really need is direction. Intimidation. I'll give you advantage because you popped into an elemental form.
All right.
Die.
Intimidation. So let's do this. It's a D20 plus 8. $26. Yeah, 26.
Okay. As you tell him, how about I let you live? Man. Well, there goes that fighting encounter. The first guy, whose name you've never gotten, but his name was Francis. Not important here or there, but does straight up say, look, if you ain't got something for us, that's all you had to ask. That's all you had to say. We'll let you go this one time, but don't let us catch you here again. Then you just straight up run. You like hear them like tripping over branches. One of them falls and trips and like continues to run afterwards.
How far are they? They're like
Uh,
30 feet from me?
After like trying to run, they have to break stealth. At first initial distance, they're like 30 feet away from you. The one guy, I did say he was like 30 feet back, is 60 feet past that. So 30, 60.
I dive into the ground and come up next to the one that's 30 feet and just grab him by the head.
Do you really want to do that?
No. That's being funny. No,
Okay.
I'm good.
Because there are mechanical things that might come into play there.
No, I'm good.
Okay. I'll just give you this since you technically can perceive them at that point. Breaking stealth, they run and you do look towards them. They for sure are scared and running. They have like more or less armor on them, but as you look at the armor itself, it like waves and shifts as if it's something breathing or alive. It's creepy, but they are for sure panicked, running away.
I could still kill them, but yeah, I'll let them keep their lives.
I mean, for sure. I'm not saying you can't. If they were like 26 is good, but if they were like fully evil, willing to murder you for anything, 26 wouldn't be enough. It would just give them like probably disadvantage on the first thing, and give you advantage on your first things. But no, they're like grunts. They bolt. Kyle does state, thank you for that. The Mechanites are a little hard to deal with. They can cause trouble if you're too close to them. And they do mess with magical items as well. So if you have any of those, I suggest not going into close combat with them. Their armor is some sort of like weird magical device that can like incorporate into other things. It also looks very creepy. Wasn't expecting to see them out here though. So something is definitely going on in these mountains. So, the next initial day goes by pretty smoothly. No combat to be had. The two individuals that you've encountered aren't going to tell the rest of the group that they ran away from their post. So, that fight just straight up don't happen. And you make way towards the next following day. Now, the last day, which would be the third day, is your current point in time before you reach the forest area that you're going to, and you can tell that the land itself is going into a more green, no longer snowing. The snow gone, bye-bye. Words are hard, man.
Now, are you able to make custom skill checks on this sheet? Are we able to?
I think so, but I don't know.
Fuck with, well, I could. You could make it as a macro, for sure. I don't know if there's a custom. I'll fuck with it.
Alright. I'm no longer huge, FYI. That was...
Nearly a couple hours ago. You are correct. I'm currently doing something else on another map, so you're currently still huge. Yeah. Examining the area, he does state, right, we'll be coming into my people's territory in a bit. They are for sure individuals with a knowledge for magic and things like that. There are a few people that are visiting us as well. Some strange traveler from a distant land, teaching some of our people swordsmanship. They themselves are a bit of a swords master from what they've stated. My father, in fact, trained underneath him before losing his life to the giant fire bug thing. He did hold his ground, thankfully enough, and was actually doing quite well before the Flying Tongue also assisted in trying to murder him. So, not a fan of them. But if everything goes well, I'm sure he'd be willing to teach you some fighting things, I'm sure, if you're into that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And all right then. You guys do make way throughout the area without too much of an issue or concern. You don't technically encounter anything here because this is the area of the Silver Quill, but you do encounter like a few scouts here and there, shouting out toward you. Not weapons drawn immediately, but one of the guards does, present themselves in front of you, looks towards the group and looks towards Kyle and the wagon, and does state, Kyle, is everything all right? Where's your father and the rest of the merchants? Unfortunately, they did perish by the hands of a great beast and the flame tongues. If it wasn't for these two, I myself would not have been able to get the bodies back or survive. I see. Well, uh, well, unfortunate as this is, maybe it's best that you came back without too much of an issue. Why? What's wrong? Nothing too terrible, but perhaps I should have let the village leader tell you with this. All right. Walk and talk on the way there. And you guys do make way. Need to bring you to this new map. Now, the map itself, well, sorry, the group itself is rather small. Only a good dozen to Baker's Dozen is 13 to 2 Baker's Dozens people are here. The Flame Tongues were a group of 20, and that was not including their hunting parties and things like that. This is just like, based off of the individual that you had spoken with. Oh, yeah. He's calling for a meeting of people to prepare for something. So this is the amount of people that they have total.
Okay.
Wasn't sure if we were going to get here, so I have no tokens currently here. I just had the map. So you do see that there are all some fighters, some people villaging, and by villaging I mean like farming. Like these people are nomadic, but at the exact same time they are prepared to stay in one place if need be. They are not a large crew, but they are a crew of people that know and take care of one another. When you enter inside, some of them are conscious and worried, but you do see that the scout that did draw you here, like nods towards them and mouths the words, "They're okay, they are allies." Some of the people here nod and go along their ways, still taking care of their kids, their wife, their family, their husband, etc., etc. And you do see one guy come out. They also have a big tent. Remember, big tent equals leader.
Right. Now I know who I need to kill. Got it.
I mean, it's entirely up to you. Where is he? There he is. A half-orcish man standing around 7 feet tall. Tall, but not as tall as you.
Almost definitely. There's not gonna be many people as tall as me.
I mean, that's the design, man. That's what you chose. Does look towards Kyle in the wagon. The wagon is taken by the guards, and the burial rites will be prepared after the meeting. This tribe leader does look towards Kyle and does state, young pup, it has been not that long of a time, but I am glad you have returned. I have heard by the scout that you and your assigned group has lost much. Unfortunately, that is true. I am glad that you have met good allies to bring you back here. Tell me, what are your names? I am known as Leader Tabal.
I'm Masora.
Yoko says Kasami, because that's what you know.
Kasumi.
I say the correct thing. Kasumi. Tabal does state, it's a pleasure to meet you both. I suppose we can get started. Since Kyle is here and the rest of our tribesmen are here. Looking
Sorry, I was just reading, checking the thing.
You intimidate the man with your presence.
I mean, I don't know how he reacts to seeing me.
Surprisingly enough, he's fine with you. Like, there's not a moment hesitation of, oh, big guy, or, oh, strong guy, do I need to be prepared for in a fight? It's more like, ah, yes, strength is here. Strength is welcomed. Looking towards the people and yourselves, but before he addresses the rest of the group, he does state, now, you can omit this if you desire. You are not involved in our own strife. But if you so choose to join us, I will pay you handsomely if that is needed.
What was the clan that I was gonna kill?
The Flame Tongue. This is the Silver Quill.
Yeah, okay. Alright, sorry, continue.
Yeah. But if this potential plan does favor you and are willing to work, I am more than willing to pay you for this job. But I must address my people as according to custom. So looking and addressing the rest of the group, as well as yourselves, so you're included in this conversation, Tabal looks towards his people and does state, my people, thank you for joining us on this day. The Silver Quill is strong and gaining strength, but we are facing strife as beforehand. We have come through, and we have gained much. We have gained the favor of a swordsman, and we have gained the favor of a mystic. But this may not be enough. Some of our scouts have heard word that the scourge of the land known as the Flame Tongue have joined in hand with this crazed monster doctor. A man breeding in and infusing their kind with the powers of the land and the powers of monstrosities. And we cannot let this imbalance stand. As people of the land and as tribesmen of the Silver Quill, I ask those willing to strike a blow, willing to defeat the enemy once and for all, to join in hand and to raise hands to defeat these monsters newly formed or newly crafted to the ground, to face the menace that is the Flame Tongue. And people begin to look towards him, striding and abiding by his words of strength. Well, he is not as big as you, Asora. He does have his own strength. And maybe the strength is words. A lot of them are grabbing staves, staves, spears, and the like, and beginning to rhythmically chant and hit them on the ground, causing a ruckus and an uproar of joyous chant, riding and willing. You can tell that Tabal will be picking some people here and there to, as things suggest, go out there, defeat the Flame Tongue, and the new weird monster people that have been made by this mad monster doctor, and then going to kill the man that is responsible for it.
So we're gonna kill the Flame Tongues first, then.
Best he looks towards you. Best this mad monster doctor lose his experiments before we go out and defeat this man.
Well, it just so happens that I can get us there within an instant, if you wish, for a sneak attack.
I am not a fan of non-head-to-head combat. This is something we may have to do, as they have created an imbalance within the world, and we must correct it.
We'll pretty much come right out on top of their chief's tent. I already planned to kill them. I almost did it 2 days ago. Man, I should have acted on that. Should have killed him.
From what I have learned, he is the first of the experiments. So he might have been shifted and changed once more.
Fine. I'll still be able to kill him.
Of course. But if you do decide to join us, then you will have numbers. Do it faster. Yoko then looks towards the ball. About that, you mentioned something about a mystic and a swordsman. Is a swordsman around? Or whatever Yoko would actually say. Tabal does state, he is around, yes, but he is not currently here. He might be here, say, in a week or so. Ready to train others, but if you need to speak with him, he is also here.
He's here, but he's not here, but he's here.
Mainly saying at a game in game. Yeah, he's in here. You can speak with him if you like, but he's not gonna be able to train with you guys. Without Yoko being here.
Yoko's being yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should handle the matter at hand first. And then once we've handled this situation, we will have all the time we need.
Of course. We make sure that our people are taken care of, so we can only take in a strike team. The very best of the best. Kyle...
I will say
ahead.
something into him in his head. Do not be alarmed, but with certain means of mine, this is the only way I can communicate. So, do not be alarmed if it happens during the fight.
He does nod, and then he does some hand signs. If you know Thieves Can't, you know what he's saying. If you don't, if you know the sign language, you also technically know what he's saying. Or if you know any military
I know
hand signs.
Druidic, but that's about it.
I see.
Other than my other languages, but these can't be learned unless you're a thief or taught. It's usually not taught unless you're a part of them. And I've never thought to join thieves.
That's fair. And he's like doing that, and then verbally he does state, "This is the language I use myself. It's non-verbal, and if you can understand a few of these symbols, it might help in stride." He
I'm
like
more
shows,
than willing to learn.
of course. Looks towards Yoko.
Kasumi.
Looks towards Yoko and then states, "Kasumi, Miss Kasumi, you as well should learn this. As when we are to battle, we may not be able to speak without the roar of blood through our ears." And Kyle does state, "And sir, should I be joining as well?"
You're not going. That's one.
That is correct. Disheartened, but also needs to attend to his father's funeral and stuff.
Little one, I have a question for you.
Yes?
Would you be willing to allow me to use your father's sword to get revenge?
As
I
long
will
as...
use it to pierce their chieftain's heart.
That is what I was going to ask.
And I will return it. I will return it to you.
Please and thank you. Okay. He does have the blade on him, so... And it is a family sword, so he will inherit it regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He does state, I can give it to you tonight as a visual. Visual. Visual needs to be given to my father currently.
Understood. We will rest and we will move tonight. Do you agree to Tobal?
Yes. I have gathered here off screen my strongest fighters. / other classes, but that's not important right here. Uh, he is prepared, and Kyle does his whole thing that he needs to do. There's a ceremony held for the individuals that have lost their lives, the merchants traveled, and the clan members of the tribe of the Silver Quill. Kyle eventually does give you the blade, and you do meet the 3 individuals that will be joining you alongside Tabal, because, the leader will for sure be fighting at the behest of his people. He does address them. These are my 3 finest warriors. You see technically she is not I was about to say Tibble, but that's Magic the Gathering. I forgot the name. Tiefling, that's it.
She's a tiefling?
She's technically not a Tiefling. I just forgot the name. Satyr? This.
Oh, the thing that Alpani was.
Yeah. He dresses them one after the other. Forful, Sigal. In no way in shape to the actor / performer / other. I think he was a cop at one point.
Oh my god, the hiccups.
Oh no, make sure to drink water. And Norm. You do know that Sigil is a... Yeah, I'll pronounce it that way. Sigil. Eyes are like a dark hue around the irises with a golden iris to them. Jet silver to white-like hair and a darker complexion than most. You do know that they are a drow, which usually don't live above ground unless they're in Zeno. But he, based off of like the clothing they have and the spider motif, doesn't seem to be from Zeno. And then Norm, the human dude with a big sword.
I can't remember. Did I explain the way Asora's eyes look?
Don't remember. Explain it again.
They're the black. You know where they're the white in a normal person's eyes. That's completely black, and the irises. There's like a kind of outer ring that's red with and then in a little bit inside there's a ring that's black, and then the pupilish is completely red.
That sounds familiar.
It's the same concept, but of Thane's eyes that I had described. Whereas Thane's were green, Asora's are red.
Yeah. Okay, then I guess his iris color means nothing to you. Yoko would know that this man is a what's it called? A high dark elf. Which
Okay.
in
Doesn't
terms,
matter to me.
wouldn't matter to you. It wouldn't matter a lot to Yoko,
as long as
though.
he can, yeah, as long as he can fight. I might have to fight him later, but yeah.
I mean, it depends if you don't see eye to eye. He carries no blades, just bandaged arms, a snake to his left arm, based off of a picture.
Oh no, it's not whether or not we don't see eye to eye. It's just
Or maybe you do see eye to eye.
Asora's goal in life is to fight the strong, that people he deems strong. Whether he wins or loses, he will fight. It is a must. It is his religion, in a sense.
Yeah. I guess Yoko. I don't want to play Yoko's character, but I'm gonna have to do this because it only makes sense. Ask Seagal like, so, where you're from, or something along those lines. Seagal does state, formerly I was from the Underdark, but now I reside on the surface. You have no need for any concern or strife from that. Just know that I am with you and yours. Well, not you specifically, Miss Kasumi, as you've stated your name to be, but my current tribesmen.
Well, did Kyle hand me the sword yet?
Uh,
Or
ceremony
is he
complete.
still doing it?
Hands use the sword. Can you use swords? I'm just asking.
I can use all martial weapons, all
Ooh.
normal weapons. I can use in like I think it's next level we get another feat thing, right, Hans? No, wait, when is that? I forget when the next time for us to get feats.
We did just level to 12, so it would have just been now. So, uh, it'd be 16.
16. Well, that's yeah. Okay, I took telepathic. That's right.
Yeah. Looking at it, commuting to it, you feel a distinct nature of presence there, of an entity of a blade passed down hand to hand. Ba, 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 ba. Let's see if I can't remember the name of this blade. Okay, cool. It's still that name. Should I give you this though?
I'm gonna do a ritual with it, like I do with all my weapons.
Okay. Don't know what that means, but man, I for sure feel like Kyle's gonna be not giving this sword back. You know this blade to be a Vorpal sword, longsword variant.
Hmm. Vorpal sword. Well then. Oh shit! I just realized. Isn't the Vorpal sword the one if you do a roll a natural 20?
You either cut their head off and they die, or they take a shit ton of extra damage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It does just kill the Jabberwocky, as Aster has mentioned. Yeah, it's a very good / legendary blade.
All right, Vorpal longsword added to my character sheet.
Yeah, as you draw it out and like wave it back and forth, you hear a snicker snack sound, and then resheath it.
I then don my shield. I actually don the shield. I like unwrap it from my arm where it sit, and then I actually tie it, tie it tight, and fasten it to my left hand.
Mm-hmm. Uh, blade to the side in one hand, and shield strapped in and ready to go. Uh, the ceremony for the fallen has concluded, and the raising of arms to get ready for combat has arisen. Dabal does look towards you and does state, "All right then, our people are prepared to fight and to protect the others that aren't engaging in combat. While we are smaller in number, we are hardier in our strength, far more refined, and refined still by the mystic and swordsmen that now train us in this day."
I will say this before we enter combat. When I fight, I take many different forms. Sometimes. Sometimes I take the form of fire. Do not approach me when I do that. for I do not wish to burn you. It is not something that I can control other than staying a distance from you. Just be warned. I
Very
will
well.
only use it as a last resort if it is needed. But be warned. You have been warned.
Very well then. Understood. Indeed. Right. And whatever Yoko says. Uh-huh, sure.
Yeah, probably. And I
Now,
walk over to the biggest tree. And I'm going to visualize the tree that's closest to the chieftain's tent.
mm-hmm.
And arm yourselves. We go to kill a clan. And I take my finger and scrape it down along in the center of the tree, and I just scrape it all the way down, and then take my two hands and rip it apart. And I do the transport via plants, and I open the doorway, and I go.
You go, and one after the other, the rest follow. Townsfolk hold on to Kyle as he tries to sneak in, but thankfully enough, the chief already told people, hey, if Kyle tries to go through, stop him. He's not stupid. Kyle's young, but also
Stupid.
a little, but more like impulsive. In the meantime, mainly because I don't want to run 5 NPCs. We'll probably have that combat later. Next time we meet. So we're going to do this little scene and then end it for the night. So
Okay.
Yoko isn't completely out of the loop.
Yeah.
We
Gotta
run.
mentally prepare for it.
Oh, yeah. We run back to Astra and the rest of the 3 party members. Hem, Hayes, and Luthim Sao. I already screwed it up. Carlisle is also there. Because it's his home, not depicted. Looks towards the 4 of you. All right, it seems like you've collected your whole crew here. Follow me. Your sister around. I assume that was your sister, the last person you were with.
Yes.
Okay, and I think you actually came here with Sprite, now that I think about it.
No, we went to Jeans with Sprite.
Ah, okay. Well, he does state, if she ain't joining, then she ain't coming along. All right, then. He takes you to a offshoot tunnel where you go into the sewer system, and then go through a almost crack in the wall. And as he moves through it, you move through it, and there is another hallway there. Illusionary terrain, very good, very handy. I suggest you learn it if you want to hide stuff. Very well. And eventually, he does take you to a grate in the area. If you were able to find it without like him guiding you, you wouldn't be able to tell. But the grate itself is inscribed in a way that it is a magical circle. But without truly deciphering it, and without someone showing you, you would not have noticed it. Yeah, backup plan in case you need to split and skedaddle. If you 4 are ready, I'm going to teleport you there. It's up to you to find your own way back.
Just handled.
All right. Hayes does state. Very well, then. Where are we to go? Yep, as mentioned, your boss here, sir, your majesty, your grace, does the whole bowing thing, but you can clearly tell it's more for show than anything else. Hayes doesn't know that, just thinks you're respecting the king. Death State. You'll be heading to the kingdom to the west, known as Quinn. There is a magical circle where you'll be able to get closer than you are currently to the, as the king here has stated, your current location. I haven't been given all the information, but I do know a few things here and there. There are roaming tribes of bands vying for power. Their former leader has perished due to some illness or some machinations of some sort. I don't really know. I don't get myself involved in there unless I can make money. So people are warring. If you do encounter them, I do suggest maybe finding them and seeing what attire they wear. Often than not, they have some sort of symbol. Some wear an entire armor set, while others just have like a blade to the side with a name inscribed on the actual blade, basically ruining the blade but looking cool. Just look for those kind of things and you might be able to get out without fighting. And if not, fair warning, they are pretty hardy. But, you know, I'm sure one-on-one you can take them out, but an entire group, problematic. All four of you ready to go? The ones I'm playing, air quotes, do nod and agree. And Aster, if you're saying anything, you're currently muted.
Oh, no, I just was waiting for him to finish talking, sorry.
Oh, he's done.
Thank you for telling us of this, but I've secured a way to come back to this portal. So I do not envision us having to fight our way out.
All right, then. You'll be heading towards a ruin site, long lost due to time and other things. Good luck getting back. He begins to chant his own spell. A bard by nature begins to inscribe the circle, allowing it to glow. He does step back because he doesn't want to be teleported with the circle and the people here. All right, then. Good luck out there. And remember, don't die. And in a near instant, a flash of light, you are teleported to this broken site. It is nearly fully in the clearing. No person currently around. Walls broken about, bits, pieces of here, there, iconography on the walls themselves. Some story told within the walls, but a lot of it lost to the weathering of time. All four of you appear within a magical circle made out of stone. If you didn't know it works, you for sure wouldn't be able to know that it was working. You actually teleporting here just means that it does work. But weather and time, as I mentioned beforehand, has degraded it to this current appearance. Lolthamso, brings out his claws and will likely stay out for a while, noticing the symbols of magic on the nails again. Does look towards the group and does state, "Right then, now that we're here." This is a joke. "I am the true villain." No. Now that we're here, where to, sire? I have an itch that I can't scratch, and I mean to draw blood from the enemy as soon as possible.
Thinking back to my divination and from where I know that we're located at, I'll start heading us in the direction.
Yeah. You're further south than you should be, but making way up north, you can definitely get there within a day. Half a day if you book it real, real fast, but that might cause you to be exhausted unless you have mounds.
I can summon them out. You could seat 2 comfortably.
Hayes can technically also summon a mound. He is a paladin and can summon a steed. Ham would need to be ridden with someone. Lithomsau does have cat agility, so he can actually keep up for a good distance. Yeah, that would honestly just work. Hayes can summon his mound. Aster, if you choose to, you can summon as well. Hem will have to ride with one of you two, and Tigor, last name, can just run alongside you guys.
I'll go ahead and nod to Hayes, and I'll summon a warhorse, and I'll nod to Hem. If you need a riding partner, look to Lithunum Sao. And your people have excellent grace. Perhaps a short warm-up is in order before you scratch that itch of yours.
Indeed. Hayes summons his own warhorse using spell slot. Okay. Hem does address her hand forwards to one of you. Hayes will take it if Vaster you don't, so she'll be riding with him.
I offered her, so yeah, I'll take her.
Yeah. She makes way, taking out her not an actual magic wand, but her focus of a branch. Very well then. Let's make stride. And Lithomsau does state excellent. Claw's already out, so it doesn't outstretch them again. But the middle one does begin to glow, and a radiant light surrounds him. Focusing on that, you do see a vision of a simian coating his body, and then you almost feel as if a screech of a monkey just shouts out in a large cry. Then let us make way.
And we go real fast.
And you go real fast. Lithomsau moves forwards, and from time to time when you move with him, you swear you see an image of a armor set of a monkey just on the man, running alongside you on all fours as you ride alongside Hayes and Hem. You make way to the Smaed Doctor, and what you might face there, we'll have to wait and see. And what the other group might face where they're going, we'll have to wait and see. Because for sure, I'm not running so many NPCs all at once, because that will get crazy. And I need at least one of you. One more. So I don't have to run Yoko.
I figured what was going to happen was that we were going to do the Sasuke retrieval arc thing, where we meet a lieutenant and Lithum Sao's oh, I got this one, you guys keep going.
I mean,
and
yes.
We meet another one, and Hayes is going to be I got this one, you guys keep going.
Yes, for sure. That for sure is going to happen on your end. The other one I'm worried about. That's straight up a campsite with so many people.
If you would like someone to help DM monsters, I would be over the moon.
Honestly, I might take you up on that offer. Next time, as we end the session for today.